Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. Paradigm we share today is the Duke dilemma. Duke dilemma. I want to speak to certain Christians out there who talk about pro-life as the only issue for voting. Perhaps they throw in issues of homosexuality, but basically their argument is, how can you ever vote for someone who is not pro-life? And I'm not talking about just simply that's the most important issue. It is the issue. So that there's no way they could ever vote for someone who's not pro-life. Or you must always vote for the person who's the most pro-life. You see, this is kind of how they get around the whole Trump situation. Because I think Trump functionally is no longer pro-life, if he ever was. I doubt he ever was, okay? I'll just be honest with you. I don't think he ever was. But clearly he's, while he has appointed justices, I know that everyone comes back with that, he appointed justices, his rhetoric is definitely not pro-life. He's not filling the administration of pro-lifers. I think functionally he's not pro-life. He's not hostile towards pro-lifers, and I'll admit the Democrats are. So you want to argue Trump is more pro-life than Harris? Touche. And that if he was to run, but he can't, but he somehow was able to run again, he'd be more pro-life than the Democrat? Okay. So with that in mind, let's talk about the Duke dilemma. You probably heard of David Duke. He was a racist, still is, I think he's still alive, Grand Wizard of a segment of the Ku Klux Klan for a while, until some corruption tended to drive him out. He won the Republican nomination for governor in 1991. So I want to talk about David Duke because I want to talk about something that actually happened, not a theoretical place. I don't want to say, in theory, would you vote for a pro-lifer who wanted to start World War III versus a pro-choicer who wanted to have, maybe one day that'll happen, but that's not happened to this day. All right. So let's talk about something that really actually happened. David Duke won the the Republican nomination in 1991 for Louisiana governor. Running against him was someone named Edwin Edwards. Edwin Edwards was a Democrat. Now, to be sure, we're not certain that he was pro-choice. He's largely silent on abortion, but David Duke was overtly pro-life. He called himself a pro-life physical conservative. And he's a racist. That was a choice you had in Louisiana for governor. It is not a great choice for a conservative Christian. So here's the Duke dilemma. Who do you vote for? Do you vote for the racist? Because the racist is more pro-life than the Democrat. He's at least saying, I'm pro-life. Democrats kind of staying away from the issue. Don't know what you're going to get if you get him as your governor. Or do you vote for the Democrat because the Republican candidate is racist? What do you think about that? Please consider. If you like discussions like this, liking this channel, liking this video, or leaving a comment. Some of you who may be a pro-lifer who feels that this is the issue, you may want to criticize me. Feel free to do that. So, what happened? Well, the Republican establishment, this is 1991, George Bush, the junior, was the president of the United States. He wanted nothing to do with Duke. The Republican establishment largely said, we'll wash our hands of this. Louisiana had one of the sort of jungle primaries. That's how Duke was able to sort of become the Republican nominee. The establishment was supporting the other person. Duke won in that jungle primary. And the Republican establishment said, no, we are not supporting this person. The Republican establishment said, we will vote, or at least not vote for the pro-life racists than the person we're not sure about, but who's a Democrat. David Duke lost that race. Many people were very happy that he lost that race. Many Republicans were very happy he lost that race. By and large, the Republicans in Louisiana, enough of them, I'm not saying the majority, but enough of them decided, I'm not going to vote for this racist. It's not where I'm going to put my vote. Some of them undoubtedly voted for Edwards, and thus Duke lost the race. And Louisiana had a Democrat governor. So that's how it was decided. Now, here's the situation. If you are going to really say that abortion is the issue to vote on, you must always vote for the most pro-life candidate. Your choice is to vote for Duke. There's no way around that. Duke was clearly more pro-life than Edwards. Edwards was not an out-and-out pro-choicer, but he was not preaching a pro-life message as well. Duke was. So you must vote for Duke. What if you say, well, you know what, I am pro-life, but I just can't vote for a racist, so I'm staying at home, or I'm voting for Edwards because he's a racist? You know what? If that's your position, that's a position that I respect, yes. But understand now that you've set a criteria by which you will not vote for a pro-lifer, which that's where I'm at. You're no longer in the area where you say you vote pro-life no matter what, or the most pro-life no matter what. You simply are not. There are conditions in which you will not vote for the pro-life candidate. And this is one of them. Guy is a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, will not get my vote. Very, very acceptable, very, very logical, moral stance to make. No argument from me on that. But you're now no longer in the place of saying you must vote pro-life no matter what. There are conditions in which you will not vote pro-life. And I think that is the wise way to go about it. I am uncomfortable with the sort of single issue voting, that based on this issue, that's how I'm going to vote, because so many other things happen. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not in a stance where I'm saying that's the only reason I wouldn't vote for a pro-lifer. I see other issues that also are life. I consider myself a whole life person. So I'm concerned about abortion. I'm also concerned about the cutting the federal aid to foreign countries where kids are starving to death. I'm also concerned about, the death penalty. I'm also concerned about our educational system or our healthcare system, because life is impacted by those things as well. I'm concerned about our immigration system. To have an immigration system that promotes life, not just the American life, but other lives. I'm not saying total open borders. I'm just saying, what are we doing with our refugee system? There are other issues that are tied to life other than abortion. And even if I was to agree that abortion may be the most on-point issue on life, it is clearly not the only issue. And then you have to ask the question, does it outweigh all these other issues? I think a healthy, a more productive way to think about it is to take things in their entirety, rather than saying because of this issue. If it's the most important issue, that's one thing. If it's the only issue, I think that's a problem. But if it is the only issue for you, then how do you answer the Duke dilemma? Go back to 1991. I know that's about 30 years ago. That's fine. Still, go back to 1991. It's probably in your lifetime. Do you vote for David Duke? Okay. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please come back. We can share some more paradigms.